everybody. Welcome back to Fire Your MD Now Radio. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. I am not a doctor. I am not a naturopath. I'm none of those things. What I am is an avid longevity aficionado distributor. I love these products. I've been using them for about 3 years now, and I've gotten my health back. I've gotten the health of my family on par using the products, and I've set up meetings in my community, brought Dr. Glidden and Dr. Wallach to my hometown, along with the help of the great team of people that we have here in Camrose, Alberta, which is located in Western Canada. We've already got loaded phone lines. Alan in Oregon, Michelle in Encino, California, and Shirley in Baltimore. And I'm going to get to each and every single one of you, but I just want to talk about a couple of things first. Just stay on the line. And I have had a really interesting week. Now, I went and got mountain bikes for me and my wife, and I ended up doing about 20 kilometers per day. Now, if you're in the United States, that's roughly 13 miles or so. And once I got going with it, I found that I didn't want to stop. So I feel great. Not only that, I had a full hour and 15 minutes to sit down with the Federal Minister of State and Finance in the Government of Canada. And big shout out to Kevin Sorensen. I found him to be very approachable and just an overall great guy. I urge you, my fellow Canadians, if you can get a hold of your MP, sit down and talk with him. I discussed longevity with him. I talked about the benefits to the soil, what we could do for healthcare costs, and he was very open and receptive. And we are going to be talking again on the subject. Now, I mentioned earlier that I have these meetings that I've been holding. We started out at a little tiny coffee shop called Fiona's downtown, and eventually that got full, so we had to move, and I got a really good deal on setting up in the old clinic. So we set up in the clinic, and there's coffee, and people watch the live webinars with Dr. Glidden, which, by the way, last night's webinar, Advanced Bone and Joint Pain, was absolutely fabulous. We are very thankful for Dr. Glidden. But the point of this story, at my meeting, was a man named Dr. Bishop Justice Wanjala from Nairobi, Kenya. And he is over here. He's going to be speaking at Solid Rock Church on Sunday. They have some sort of a program going. And Bishop Justice was very excited at the prospect of longevity. So we are talking more, and longevity is not in Kenya, but we're looking at breaking into that market. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care where you're from. If you have a sick child, or if you have chronic bone and joint pain, say you have bad eye health, I want to help you out. I want to do everything I can. Race has nothing to do with it. We all bleed red. And frankly, it doesn't even come into the picture as far as I'm concerned. So, in the second hour of today's show, we're going to have Bishop Justice Wanjala on to speak about the work that they have been doing in Kenya and 7 other African countries. Now, with that, I'm going to go to the phone lines. Alan in Oregon, you're on the air. Can you hear me, buddy?
I can. Can you hear me?
I hear you just great. What's on your mind, Alan?
Perfect. Well, I was going to talk about esophagitis, but I'd rather talk about something else in this case, because you're a distributor like me. And one of the issues that I have, that I notice, is the fact that when people see the cost, it's the initial shock. Because, most people are generally 160 to, maybe 250 pounds. And when you're talking a couple Healthy Start packs, and you're talking about, a couple bottles of selenium, you're coming up into the $300 realm for a single person. And when you're talking about doing it for the family or doing it for the husband and wife, it starts getting up there, and it starts to scare them. I'd like to know your approach on that kind of issue.
Okay, well, that's a good question, Alan. And my approach on that is it's best to start somewhere. Now, when me and my wife started out using the products, all we had was the Tangy Tangerine.
Okay.
And we got huge results out of that. So what you can do, if you can set them up with even, say, a $20 bottle of plant-derived minerals or something, get them signed up, get them on at least one product, and they're going to experience things with that, like, loss of appetite and whatnot. And what they'll notice is that they're eating less and the grocery bill is going down at the same time. So you know as well as I do, Alan, the tremendous benefits that come along with using Youngevity's products. But, you got to kind of work with you got to feel out the person that you're with and figure out where they're at and set them up appropriately. So, I mean, if you're with somebody and you know right off the bat that they don't have a whole lot of money to spend, then you're not going to be telling them, I want you to spend $500 on a CEO pack. Comprende?
Right. Definitely.
So, yeah, just steer them towards something that's going to work, because even, just a $20 bottle of plant-derived minerals, chances are you're dealing with a person that is so minerally deficient that when those minerals hit them, their body's going to start to sing a little bit, and they're going to feel that. So, over the years, I went from starting out with just the Tangy Tangerine. Now I take, well, it would take too long to rattle off what I take in a day. So, but the more products I try, the more I find that they work just fantastic. So, how's that?
I love trying them out. I'll tell you what, I have just recently run out of my Ultimate Daily Tabs. I love those things. My nephew, I had gotten him a bunch of stuff, and for some reason, he wasn't interested in taking this Oxybody product. Okay. And I really don't know that much about Oxybody. As I recall, I thought it had something to do with oxygenation of the blood.
Yeah, I think that has to do with the iron, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so I'm not going to totally comment on it. Like I said, I'm not Dr. Glidden. What all you've got him the Oxybody, and what else?
Well, he was on the Healthy Start Pack. He had hepatitis C, or he has hepatitis C. Yep. And he has, he's very, very much in pain because he's just abused the crap out of his body. Right. And so I started him off on the Healthy Start Pack. I got him some glucogel because his arthritis in his hands were getting pretty bad.
How old is he?
And he is going to be 49 here in about a month.
Right.
But he's just abused his body over the years, always ate the wrong foods. That's a great thing to try to change people when you're telling them about, getting off the gluten and getting off, the oils and getting off the other things that are bad for you.
Absolutely.
And they say, well, what's left to eat? And then you tell them, well, there's lots of stuff to eat. And you start telling them, what they can eat. And then the next thing out of their mouth is, well, I can't afford to eat, a hamburger every day, or afford to eat, 6 eggs a day or 8 eggs a day. If I have to spread that around my family, that's going to be a costly aspect. And I says, well, your body, I was just telling the guy at work, I said, your body's an investment. It's like you invest in your car, you invest in your house because you want something nice to drive, you want to live in a decent area, but you want to spend $10 on one a day. I said, it just doesn't cut it. You have to invest in your body. And
absolutely.
So right, those minerals.
Yeah, you talk about your nephew there abusing himself. Man, I was the king, okay? Like I used to play in a rock band, and we were in bars all the time, and I partied like crazy for a long time, and my health was failing pretty badly as a result of it. But I'm here to tell you, and if your nephew's listening right now, I don't care how much you've abused yourself, chances are, once your body gets its hands on something real, it will start to rebuild itself.
I agree. I agree with you. Well, it's nice to talk to a fellow distributor. Talking to Dr. Wallach can be real technical, and talking to Dr. Glidden can be not quite as technical because he's a little bit more down level. But with you're like me, except you've been in it longer. But we still have the same belief that we know the products work. I had arthritis in my shoulder. I had carpal tunnel in my right hand. When my arthritis went, after using glucogel for less than 3 months, the carpal tunnel disappeared too. And when I tell people that story, they're amazed. And I show them the back of my head. I have grayish hair in the front, and I have the color I had when I was a kid, in the back. And I tell them the copper changes the color of your hair.
It does. And you know what? My wife, she likes to sit on the deck and tan, and that copper makes her skin, well, copper. I mean, she's got the best tan I've ever seen. And the same thing happens with me if I'm outside. Yeah, my skin, man, I was the kind of guy that if I spent 5 minutes in the sun, I would pay for it dearly because I would burn real bad. And my skin is so healthy now that I can be in the sun for about 6 hours and not get burnt. And I, you know, it's just not a problem. When you get on these products, here's the deal. You almost lose track of all the things that have gone good for you because there's so many. I'll ask people at my meetings, so what's happened for you since you started this? And, oh, well, my knees felt better. Oh, and my allergies went away. I just remembered that, you know, because it's been 2 years since they've taken a Claritin. And life is so different now when it used to be the controlling factor. You got up in the morning, you popped 2 Claritin, otherwise your eyes were itchy and watering all day. Alan, I really appreciate your call. Any more longevity distributors want to call in and discuss some tricks with me? We got a commercial break. We're going to go to Michelle and Shirley after this. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Be right back. Welcome back. We're live. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden here in Camrose, Alberta. The call-in line, if you want to talk to me about anything at all, how to use longevity products, where to get them, whatever. If you're a distributor and you want to give people some tips on how to get sign-ups, we'd love to hear from you. Or if you have a great health recovery story, we got people listening in Nairobi, Kenya right now that want to know more about this thing called longevity. Call-in line is 1-844-374-5433. Once again, 1-844-374-5433. And with that, we're going to go over to Michelle in Encino, California. She wants to talk about Hashimoto. Michelle, are you there?
I'm here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's great to talk to you. I bet you're having a real nice day.
It's very nice here in Ukiah, California.
Do you ever have bad days there?
Bad days? Depends on what your idea of bad is.
It's always warm, right? We get winters like nobody's freaking business here in Alberta, but it makes us tough. So what's on your mind there, Michelle?
I'm trying to decide which issue to attack first for myself. Grew up around cotton fields, so I was crop dusted pretty much most of my childhood. Had PTSD twice. I had a diagnosis of adenomyosis in 2005. And then I got a fibroid in 2012. I also am having, weird to me, I've never heard of seizures just happening at night, and only like one time every 3 months. And some other things that I think are probably related to the Hashimoto's. I had a rash that ended up, like, after it was gone, the rash on my hands, my pigment was gone. Leg cramps, those sort of things, short-term memory. I've got sleep apnea. And that's a good start.
How did you hear about the show, Michelle?
I am actually a distributor. I haven't distributed anything as of yet. I want to be able to take and be a product of the product so that I can testify to other people.
That's a great attitude. You know what? Just keep bringing people to the show here. But you're absolutely right. If you can't get your own health back, a lot of people don't feel like they have any business talking to anybody about it if it hasn't worked for them yet. So, I'd love to help you out with that. Now, here's the deal. What we do is known as holistic. So you just gave me a whole laundry list there, right?
Yes.
And we don't actually, as far as different packs, if it's a blood sugar issue, you got the blood sugar pack. If it's a bone and joint issue, you got the bone and joint pack. But it's all based on the Healthy Start pack. That's where it all starts. And you start adding stuff on from there. So you mentioned to me that you had PTSD twice. Did you were in the service, were you?
No, not that kind of service. No, I wasn't paid to take what I took.
Okay. All right, I'll just leave that where it is then. So yeah, we don't, you've heard Dr. Glidden say over and over again, we're not attempting to treat or cure anything because we're not allowed to say that. But,
yeah, of course.
But if your body is nutrified, it will just start taking care of a lot of these things. So you're looking to make your first order? Is that the deal?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide, there's not a lot of funds, so I'm trying to decide what would be the most important with what you got.
Right. So how much do you weigh, ma'am?
Golly, I just lost like 50 pounds. Maybe 185.
185? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You can't go wrong with a Healthy Start pack. And if you can afford 2 of them, if funds are an issue, then, if you can at least get 1, then that's going to cover a lot of the bases right there. And if funds are an issue, I'll tell you what, I have a lady in my downline that in 3 months made SEMD. And now if you're familiar with that, you know what? I hear the music. That means we're going into a break. Michelle, stay right there. Shirley in Baltimore, stay where you're at. And we'll come back to this right after this break. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Back after this. Filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Call in line is 1-844-374-5433. Once again, 1-844-374-5433. We're talking to Michelle in California, and she's got a lot of things going on with her health, a laundry list of issues. You know what, though, Michelle? I'm all the way up here in Western Canada, and I'm seeing the exact same thing in people around me. And, I'm seeing them. Some of them are able to get over it if they're able to follow the right information. And you've got a battle ahead of you. But like I mentioned before the break there, if you are able to get your hands on this business of longevity, like I say, I have a lady in my downline that has covered the cost of her products in 3 months. So that is a possibility if funds are an issue. Now, that doesn't do you any good at this moment. So we're discussing ways of boosting your health quickly on a limited budget. And if you heard me talking to Alan in Oregon while you were waiting to come on the show, we were discussing just that very thing. So if you are able to afford 2 Healthy Start packs, that would be a good route to go. Another way that you could go, the plant-derived minerals for 1 bottle is only about $20. Okay? So
that
if
sounds
you
doable.
Yeah, $20, right? So if you could say do a Healthy Start pack and say even 4 bottles of plant-derived minerals, that would be a lot cheaper even than 2 Healthy Start packs. Or I know people that have had really cool results with just taking lots of plant-derived minerals. So you could go that route. The minerals are the lion's share of the body's needs at around 60% or so. So, you need to get those minerals. Chief amongst them, if you ask me, is the calcium, right? And if you got thyroid issues, you need that calcium. But if you can do at least a Healthy Start pack and a couple of bottles of minerals, I would do that. Or if it's severely limited, go with as many bottles of plant-derived minerals as you can do. And that is my opinion on this matter. That's what I would do if I was you. And I really would like to hear back from you, Michelle, when things are going better. And I have no reason to doubt that they will, because I've seen it over and over again in people all around me. The women that I see get on longevity are absolutely beautiful. And, you know, sometimes it takes about 6 months or whatever, but the weight just drops off. I've got a lady down. Actually, I was talking about that coffee shop. I ran into her. I've got her on a Healthy Start pack. And she says, "Thanks a lot, Mike. I have to buy a whole new wardrobe because none of my pants fit." And I said, "You know what? I don't feel bad about that at all."
So what does someone do that's on medication and the doctors, you know, in the first place go, your test says it's fine, you know, you're a high normal, you know, a high low, it's normal. And, you know, I got on medication just because somebody wanted to try and help me because I had some of these symptoms. But any other doctor wouldn't have put me on medication in the first place. How do you get off of that medication while you're taking this stuff?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. What you can do about that is you can talk to your pharmacist. Get on the product first of all, because we've seen it where people actually, the drug started working better. Yeah, and, you know, either that or they started experiencing side effects because, you know, their thyroid medication was overworking because everything was working better. And so they were able to cut back just seeing how they feel. But if you talk to your pharmacist about the medications you're on and tell them, "Hey, I'm feeling better and I want to wean myself off of this," then they'll probably have some pretty good advice for you because they know those drugs and they know what they do. So I'm not even going to get into exactly what they are with you. I'm just going to let you figure that out with your pharmacist. Another good idea, if it's really bothering you, is to call back in when Dr. Glidden's on, and he'll have better advice. But like I say, I have seen it in the past where people just completely dropped their statins and they were fine. I've seen it where we had one lady, she called in the show actually, and she was getting extreme chills and sweats because of her thyroid medication. And Dr. Glidden said, go and Google the symptoms of an overdose on that medication, and she had every single one. So, and it was the same amount she'd been taking. But what happened was that her thyroid actually started working, and the medication started working better, and so she just cut back. And she is doing a lot better now. So, you know, we have seen that in the past.
That's the word I was looking for, overdose. That'll help me a great deal.
Yeah, you don't want to, right? But
No.
But yeah, they put us on all these crazy drugs. The pharmaceutical companies have extremely deep pockets, and they are very influential with government, and they have basically legislated themselves into our healthcare system to the point where that's all doctors know anymore. So, you know, like we say, fire your MD now, right? I mean, if you need them for something traumatic, you need them. But if you can get around having yourself drugged and it's not going to fix the problem, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I experienced that with the seizure medication. They just wanted to drug me up, and my body's sensitive. I couldn't handle that drugs, and I just said, I'm not taking them. And, you know, they get bad, and they want to push them on you.
I know a guy that used to have seizures almost every day, and Healthy Start pack, and they're gone.
That's awesome.
He's able to drive. Yep,
awesome.
Seen it. Yep, it is. So, Michelle, you get on it. Do whatever you can to help yourself out, and then get out and help your community. And this show will be here for you. And I want to hear back from you again on a Friday, Michelle. Call me up when things are going better.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your time.
Take care, Michelle. We're going to let you go, and we're going to go over to Shirley in Baltimore. She's been waiting about 35 minutes. Shirley, how are you? Shirley in Baltimore, are you there?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Doing good. There you are. I was wondering if we lost you, but
I had it on mute.
Okay, yeah, you were waiting quite a while there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a distributor for longevity, and my husband, I stopped work in March because he wasn't doing well because he was suffering from depression, and he was one of those where the doctor told him for smart heart, don't eat eggs, don't eat butter, the whole 9 yards.
Of course.
And I just was observing and seeing him, and when he's had depression for about maybe 4 years, and he's on Zoloft and Remron. So I said, they're not working. He even had electroconvulsion therapy in December. He did well for a while, but then he had a little change. So I started him on 90 for life. He takes it twice a day. I have him on a selenium. He takes that 3 tablets twice a day. And he does the EFAs 20 to 21 a day. So I'm still looking at him from the Zoloft. He has that involuntary movement. I think they call it TD.
Uh-huh.
And wanted to know what could help that of Dr. Wallach's product. What could help him with that? Because I get so agitated when I see that, because I went to his psychiatrist and I said, well, it might be the medicine. He said, oh, no, antidepressant medicines, no. And when I went out on the website and did my own research, there are studies. People are saying it. So he had the beginning of July, and I took him Dr. Wallach's pamphlet, and I also told him that a lot of there are reports out on the website talking about antidepressant medicines and involuntary movement. So he went out, and then he finally said, well, it could be a part, because he went out there and researched it. But my husband, since February, he's doing better. He's up. He used to get up 10 or 11 o'clock. He's up 8 o'clock, 8:30, go out, water the yard, go for a short walk. So I see that the product is very much helping them. But I wanted to know what else could I add to help reverse that involuntary mouth movement. And for the Zoloft, I had reduced them myself when I went to the doctor. He was on 125 milligrams of Zoloft. I reduced that, Dr. Shirley now. I reduced that to 100, and I told his doctor. So his doctor said, well, I don't reduce it, because he was really was in deep depression. So Charles, when he saw him, he said, how are you, Mr. Dower? He said, I'm fine. How are you? And the doctor sat back, because this was a totally different person. So the doctor at the end, the doctor said, I said, when would you like to see him again? He said, what about 3 months? And my husband, Charles, said, what about 6 months? And so he don't go back until December. But in the meantime, what I want to do is to further reduce the antidepressant medicine and replace it with whatever I need of the holistic nutrients, and just observe him, to watch to see that he's not changing. But I think since he's still on that Zoloft and that Remron, I think that's still causing that involuntary mouth movement.
Okay, so, wow, that's quite the story. And if you remember a little while back, I had a man named Mike Rivero on the radio show, and we did a whole hour on serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs. And he had mentioned there's a website you can go to called ssristories.com. ssristories.com. And if you go there and read the stories of what has happened to a whole load of people when on these drugs, and in fact, it's the worst time is coming off of them, right? And you cannot just quit antidepressant cold turkey, so you're very wise to not just cut them off, okay? Now, as far as getting his health back, you said that he was getting some depression and whatnot. Let's get back to this on the other side. Shirley, can you wait there? I'll come right back to you. I hear the music. We got a break. We're going to talk to Shirley in Baltimore more about her husband. He sounds like he's going to fire his MD. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden back after this. Come back. We're live. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Small technical difficulty there. Apologize for that. We were talking to Shirley before the break in Baltimore, and you're talking about your husband wanting to get off the Zoloft. Now, that's something that is going to have to be weaned. He cannot just stop taking it. In the meantime, you're talking about involuntary muscle spasms, and anytime I hear that, that screams to me mineral deficiency. So if you're looking to up the ante in that game and give his body a little bit more of what it may need to overcome that on its own, I would suggest doubling up on the OsteoFX and the plant-derived minerals. How does that sound to you, Shirley?
He takes it twice a day. I give it to him twice a day. The 90 for life and the OsteoFlex, and he takes 21 of the EFAs.
Yeah, that's a great start. Yep.
So what's the mineral derivative? What is that? What is it called? What's the name of that?
The plant-derived minerals. There are 60 minerals in colloidal form in the bottle, and you can give him I would say about 2 ounces per day to start with that. And like with muscle spasms, I would also add extra OsteoFX if you can. Now, here's another thing. The doctor said no eggs and butter.
Yeah, when he was on, when he had a order valve replacement, and after that he went into depression because he worried himself sick. So part of their healthy start, but I've changed that since I've been home. We eat eggs. He didn't eat eggs, cheese, no butter. So I changed all of that, and I've also started him to be gluten-free.
Perfect, Shirley. It sounds like you're doing everything right. I got to let you go. We're going to be back with Bishop Justice Wangela after this break. Raphael, hang on, and we'll get to you after.
Okay, thanks.
Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back after this.